Welcome to the Love, Purpose, Connection podcast. I am your host, Estelle Bingham, and together we'll be delving into the profound meaning of love, the driving force of purpose, and the beauty of connection that shapes the fabric of our lives. In each episode, I sit down with some of the most inspiring individuals out there to understand the ways love has touched them. Matt Johnson is a British TV presenter and broadcaster who you would have seen on shows like ITV's This Morning. He's currently on Good Morning Britain. He's also a powerful mental health advocate and RSPCA ambassador. After losing his beloved dog and companion Alan, he is now also an advocate for the RSPCA's Not Just a Pet campaign. And he's here to tell us all about it. Matt, welcome to the Love, Purpose, Connection podcast.
It's my absolute pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah.
We've met before, haven't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On a Greek island.
On a Greek island, as you do. Yeah, I actually did your practice. I was in your class, which was magnificent, by the way.
You came and did a heart opening, didn't you? And you were holding a circle. You were doing a mental health circle.
Yeah, I was doing my mental health check-in.
Which is wonderful too.
Thank you.
Why did that start?
Oh, wow. The check-in was a really integral part of my life, really. I, for a long time, struggled with my mental health, as far as I can remember in hindsight. And then I had a really difficult time with my mental health around 2008, 2009.
What was happening there?
It's how much time do we have?
We've got time,
Okay,
Matt.
all right, fine. So I really struggled with depression,
Right.
and I really struggled with my own mind and who I was, and I didn't have any tools to navigate myself through that, and I was really suffering. And as a working class guy from Caerphilly, South Wales, I didn't have the ability, or I didn't feel safe enough to talk about my problems, and they all built up over a long period of time, and it really got too much for me. It got to the point where I tried to take my own life in 2009, on the 23rd of December, 2009. And that was really a catalyst for, and I'm very grateful that I was unsuccessful, and it changed my life for the good, I believe. But it started my journey on, like, what the hell was going on? What's happening there? Why am I behaving like this? Why am I unable to talk about my feelings and all those types of things? And why are they hurting so much? And why am I in this thing? Am I cursed? I thought. And what's going on? And what can I do to make this go away properly instead of taking my own life? So when I started on that path, and when I was going down that road of, as we now say, self-discovery and all that type of stuff, cut to 2018, where I had a podcast much like this called The Naked Professors with my friend Ben. And a guy called Craig White was one of our guests. Now, he's a masculinity coach, men's coach, just a good guy in the world. And he had a retreat called Men Without Masks. And
I've heard about that retreat.
You've heard about it, yeah?
I have.
It's a lot of like chest pounding and tribal stuff. And I won't go into it too much, but it was one of the pivotal moments where I finally started to understand a few things, started to unpick a few things. It had been by then nearly 10 years of self-progression, therapy, and doing the work, finally talking about me and my conditioning from when I was younger, and why us working class boys keep it all built up, and why we should be tough, and unraveling and unpacking all of that. And this retreat kind of really did a huge, heavy lifting for me to kind of work through that. And my favorite thing on the retreat, there was many favorite things. We did lots of tribal stuff. We did lots of Native American things. We did lots of testing out our warrior side, our lover side, and all these wonderful things that I didn't know existed in this world. One of the greatest things that we did was a circle, a 3-word check-in circle. So it was, I think 19 of us would sit around, and you would stand up and you would say to the group how you felt, give 3 words that best represented how you felt. And then you'd briefly kind of explain that. and then you sat down and just passed it on to the next person to your left. And nobody could get up and fix you or come in and say, hey, why don't you try yoga or something, you know? For me, it was terrifying. I didn't know how I felt, how to put into words how I felt ever. I didn't have the privilege or the luxury or the confidence to do such a thing. But also, it was in front of other men who I always felt like I needed to be strong in front of and act a certain way. So to do that so freely was terrifying, but also is the most liberating thing that I ever did. So I came away from the retreat learning a lot about myself, about how important it was to be in the moment and be able to tune into your feelings, and how important it is for me to kind of connect with other men and feel like I'm not alone in this world, in amongst all this kind of bravado.
It was such a beautiful practice. So, Matt, on that note, let's do a 3-word check-in now. Over to you. So how I do it is I come into the heart.
Okay, so you put your hand on your heart.
I put my hand on my heart.
Okay. I'll go first then. I'd say that I am feeling excited.
Curious.
Oh, anxious.
At home. 2 words in one.
Safe.
I'd say excited.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and on the retreat we'd say aho at the end of it. Aho.
Yeah.
I like that.
We love that.
Yeah.
And this idea of male mental health, and we know the stats are out there. So the stats have been in for quite some time.
Which are horrific, aren't they?
Which are so sad.
Devastating.
Devastating. Extraordinarily devastating.
If this many men were dying because of a war or bullets, there would be international outcry. If 1 man per minute internationally dies by suicide, it's tragic.
It's so tragic. And the biggest killer of men, as we know, under the age of 45 is suicide.
Suicide, yeah.
And all of this is around our feelings, your feelings, not being able to express them, know them, name them, feel them, like them, embrace them, integrate them, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's so deeply painful.
I think so. It's really hard to kind of excuse or speak on behalf of every man that takes their own life or is feeling a certain way to get them to the point where they think they want to take their own lives. So I can speak on my behalf.
Yeah.
And why I felt like I wanted to end it all. It was because I was suffocated by the idea of what masculinity should be. I lived a life where I was trying to please others or live a certain way that I thought I should be living. And I could only see in my head that I had to be a strong man and not show any weakness whatsoever. And as I've learned through lots of the work and all that type of stuff, what masculinity means for me is to be able to be sensitive. I am very sensitive, and I weirdly take on people's moods, and I like to be a recluse, and I'm not always somebody that likes to be in the spotlight, and all of those things are really important to me, to be able to be somebody that's strong and stands up and facing forward in this world, and all those things that I'd like to be. All the things I want to achieve in the world are only really possible because I lean into then privately or through therapy or talking with friends, the softer, more loving, more kind, more empathetic sides of me. So from my own experience, I've realized there's loads of different types of emotions and lots of different versions of me. And that's why I have a problem with the whole divine masculine thing or just masculinity and all that definition thing, really difficult, because what I've had to do is look within myself to work out where I am on the spectrum of all of it. I can be tough and I can get things done. And I can put myself in the spotlight and do the hard stuff that not many people can do. But I can only do that if I allow myself to be fully myself and be sensitive. It's very difficult for a Welsh boy to say that he's sensitive out loud, especially with one of these in front of him. It's tricky, and I still feel that. And I should, that's what I'm living with, that men should be tough I'm living with that bullshit.
Is that still a bit of is there an anxiety there, or even just saying it out loud?
Totally, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And it's something that I'm rewiring in my brain. The narrow-minded way in which I thought a man should be. By that I mean not telling anybody how you feel, being strong about it, nearly killed me. I tried to kill myself. And as it turns out, I was trying to kill that part of my body that was telling me that I was wrong for feeling these things. So all I had to do was articulate and share how I felt, know that sometimes I need to be taking some time out.
It's an idea of failing, we're failing somehow, or men are failing if they need to resource, and they need to resource their sensitivity. They need to resource these parts of what it means to be human. And I think that's ultimately what you're getting to as well. Like, what does it mean to be human? Just a fully fledged human.
Yes. And I think that's just really exciting, because I know what it's like on the other side of it. I know what it's like to suppress these feelings, but I also know what it's like to step into like what it is to be a human. And it's so brilliantly complex, and we are so fugazi all over the place, right? And I think that's beautiful, and that's what being a human is. It's messy. It's facing up to, I think one of the hardest things you could possibly do is step into what makes you you, and it's some dark, dirty bits there that it wasn't your fault, but it's up to you to take a look at and dig out and face. And it took me a suicide attempt and 12 years of therapy to find a tool that could have saved my life. And I find it just heartbreaking to think that there's somebody out there that might be listening to this now and then still not have that in them to be able to talk about how they feel, which is such an important thing.
Let's think about this in relation to this term, the divine masculine, because what's happening in relationship today, there's this feeling that, men are not able to meet necessarily women in that sort of deeply intimate way, because they don't know how to put their feelings into words.
Yeah, it's such a complex issue. I don't really care if it's masculine or feminine energies. I think looking in towards yourself and learning about who you are and what you need, you'll have lots of these different energies swirling around at all times, and all of them are okay, but not suppressing any of those is important, and freely, safely exploring all of them, whether it's feminine energy, masculine energy, anger, resentment, rage, kindness, empathy. These are all wonderful feelings that a human being has and holds, and safely holding them without fear is, I think, really important. And we're all on the spectrum of all of them at all times, and it's always swirling around. But I just think trying to live a life that's not yours, suppressing energies is very dangerous. Exploring who you are in this world is difficult, and you have to face different parts of yourself at all times. You have to be vulnerable, which is scary, and it should be. But knowing who you are and working out that is one of the most wonderful things I think you could possibly do for yourself.
And really allowing these parts of us, I think really thinking about emotion and talking about emotion without shame, because that's a big one, isn't it? The shame of having emotions that may feel like they're too big, or they're unacceptable, they're ugly in some way. That these parts of ourselves that we just won't allow the world because we're masking.
Yes, and from my experience, whenever you do repress or suppress any emotions and feelings, they can build up to be very isolating and very lonely places.
Hi, it's Estelle here, and I'm so excited to share my new book with you, Manifest Your True Essence, Clear Your Blocks, Find Your Joy, Live Your Truth. This is more than just a book. It's an invitation to come home to your heart. Within its pages, you'll find the guidance to reconnect with your true essence. Through gentle meditations, heart-centered practices, and soulful wisdom, you'll learn how to release old patterns, embrace your divine spark, and manifest a life filled with love, purpose, and connection. Remember, you are love, you are light, and you are infinitely powerful. And talking about safe places in the world to be with our pets.
Well, yes.
Is such a profound gift. And when we bumped into each other, I said, what's happened? How are you? And you had lost your beloved
Alan Shearer.
Alan Shearer.
Yeah, the dog.
The dog.
So in 2018, I was introduced to a wonderful man called Paul Darling and his wife, Camilla Darling. And I started kind of becoming really good friends with them, and they had many dogs, and one of the dogs was a pug called Alan Shearer. And over time, we became really friendly, me and Alan Shearer. We were super friendly to the point that it was quite clear, I think, to Paul and Camilla that there was a special bond there. Alan chose me for some reason, and I needed that in my life at that time. And one of the kind of long story short, there's such a wonderful sense of safety and belonging with that family and those two people in my life. It was such an amazing time that I needed to heal a few things that I needed. And little did I know that in 2022, when I bought my own place in West London, Paul gave me Alan Shearer. Now, we were inseparable for a long time, but it was officially, Paul said, look, he's your dog. He's going to have a great life. And to this day, and probably forever, it'll be the greatest gift I'll ever receive, because Alan Shearer, the pug, was one of the greatest things that'll ever happen to me in my entire life. Having that healing dog in my life was the most remarkable thing at the most integral time. He died on the 10th of April this year. Neurologically and physically, it was like coming off drugs. Like I needed that furry thing in my life so much for all those reasons, for purpose, for a sense of belonging, for routine, and for healing. Like the amount of times we've just sat in my grey jockers, and for that just to end completely broke my heart. And it will always be broken because of it. And recovering and moving on from that has been a big process, because there's a huge gaping pug-shaped hole in my life. And really interestingly, Paul, who gave me Alan, died last year suddenly, which was awful. Alan was there to kind of help me through it and be. He is a crutch, and he was like in that way. Like I lent on him in those moments. And a friend of mine, unfortunately, Andrew, passed away last week.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And thank you very much. Suddenly again, and this is the first time I've not had Alan in that sense, not had my pure, straight to the bones love and kindness and dopamine and all that type of stuff. And it's really interesting. Yeah, I'm overwhelmingly sad about that loss, and at the same time, overwhelmingly grateful for the life that we had together.
The science tells us about how our pets, cats and dogs, really do, bring so much healing into our lives. And they are our families, they are definitely our companions. They absorb energy, they make us smile. When we are feeling sad, they, sit by our sides, they pick up on everything. When we pass over, depending on what you believe about what happens life after death, our animals come, and they will come to our bedsides. They will come back to meet us as we cross the threshold. How does that feel for you?
It's a weird one because I'm looking for evidence all the time about this stuff, and I want to believe. I think I do. I've lost a lot of friends over the last 9 years, and
it's been tough that you've been through. I mean, from the sounds of it, talking to you off the podcast, that's a lot of grief.
I mean, yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. Flacky and Sophie and my friend Stuart and Emily and Paul, Alan, Andrew. Like there's a lot, and so it makes me have to make choices of hope, I suppose. So every time I see a feather, I say "Howie pet" to Paul. And I don't know if that's being placed by Paul there, but I choose to, and it makes me feel better. So I choose the hope of it might be something divine, or there might be something outside of it. I'm not a religious person. I'm not really a spiritual person, but I suppose making those choices just helps. But I'm just a small town boy trying to work it all out, and certain things like that, you just go, do you know what? If it's not real, great timing.
Yeah.
Exactly what I needed.
Exactly what you needed.
Exactly what I needed, yeah. And if I was going to plan that, that's a good plan.
So this RSPCA, this amazing campaign about losing our pets and how deep and profound and sad and how much grief is attached to that, and bringing awareness to this loss is so important, isn't it? If we do think about it in that grand, in that bigger, just that they are, for me, the soul family, or the family, or how the places that they hold in our hearts, like you said, your heart was just broken. I feel like it's such an important thing to talk about.
It's in my wheelhouse. It's like I when I first talked about my suicide attempt in 2013, I didn't realize what I was doing at that time. I kind of had to. And I had to tell my story on national bloody television. And I kind of regret it, but also it was the best thing I ever did. It took my life in a different direction, And I've become better at doing it. I've done a lot of the work behind the scenes to be able to not be deregulated because of my truth, So in this kind of cool space I am, where I can be honest, freely be vulnerable and tell my truth, it's kind of combining all of the stuff. And then when Alan died, the natural progression for me to help heal me was to do something positive and turn it into something that helped people, which I've been doing, which I've been so grateful to be able to do in the world of men's mental health and mental health in general. And particularly then, if you think, oh, I better not say anything because it's just a dog, or I better not tell work that I'm suffering, or better not because it's only a dog. If you've got that blockage, that's suppressing a feeling. And again, that's the worst thing. So whether it's a dog passing or a human passing or any emotion, as we were saying earlier, it's really important to kind of articulate it, get it off your chest. And it was really important for me to try and give people permission to grieve their pets. I've been an ambassador for the RSPCA for over 10 years, and this is something I could just do. I could go on telly and I could talk about this, and I felt it was really important for me to do that for myself mainly, and then also to try and give people permission to grieve their pets, because it's absolutely heartbreaking.
Such amazing work, so important, Matt. And talking about the loneliness piece, because obviously when we lose our pets, we feel that gap, like you said, you've got this hole in your heart. It's got the pug. It's like the pug hole.
Yeah.
I really want to speak to that, because loneliness is such a massive part of what it means to be human in this day and age. I mean, so many of us are lonely. What did it feel like having Alan in your lonely times?
Oh, God. Well, they didn't feel lonely. It was me needing to take some time, actually. A lot of the time that I was with Alan, I'm in hermit mode. So I am doing things solo, but because I had him, it didn't feel socially weird, or didn't feel like I was lonely, because I had my buddy and we were doing it together. And I think for me to take that time to go inward and to have all that really harsh, deep therapy and face all the ugly stuff, having this pure, furry giver of light with me at all times was super important. So when that's gone, you try and do all those things again and you're just alone. And that's the pug-shaped hole, like the silence, the routines you have with pets, just getting up in the morning, like, you just miss every single element of what they give. And they leave such a mark, in the sense that I drop a bit of food on the floor, my heart breaks, because I know you would have loved that little bit of food on the floor. And just the noises that they make, they just take up so much. And I think purpose is a huge thing for me. So like when I I was floating around like a paper bag in the wind in my life. And then all of a sudden I had something to look after and keep alive. It gave me this purpose, and then gave me this self-respect that I needed, and got me out of bed and got me out to the pub and got me home earlier, and all these things that having that responsibility gave me was very grounding and very essential for me. But it's really difficult. It's really difficult. And I think what it does when you are pushed into that kind of loneliness, you really understand what a lot of people are going through.
Alan is, they come in as our teachers, don't they? They teach us so much.
There's so many lessons that I had from Alan, right? But the regulation was the huge thing. Settling the F down was a major thing for me. And thank goodness we had lockdown and all those types of things. For me personally, everything slowed down. I had therapy in that time, and all she kept saying was like, you can stop running. For a very long time, that was just my style. It was just like up and out and chaotic, really.
Yeah.
And I think my depression kind of kicked in when things weren't chaotic.
Right.
Needing to be busy, needing to be, I suppose, like in front of a camera or on stage, or having that type of very thin layer of validation was something I was getting a kick from, craving. Yeah. So when it stopped, I just went into some sort of like coming off drugs, like withdrawal symptoms from all of those energies, like, all these wonderful, huge dopamine hits I was getting from exciting job, or like just being stressed, or and all. I was addicted to stress and everything. And then I just kind of slumped into this period of like downtime, which was difficult. I couldn't cope with it. I couldn't cope with my own mind. So I kind of froze and shut off and couldn't do anything. Interestingly, talking about what they teach us, and I mean, taught me a lot about purpose, a lot about priorities and doing the right thing and slowing down, all those things. That was all very well and good. But it was 2 nights before he passed away, and I was up and I couldn't sleep. I was having this really bad feeling, because he looked a bit older as well. He was 10 when he passed away. So he looked a bit older. He was a bit sleepy. And at that point, I was carrying him to bed. He didn't have to be carried to bed, but he was just getting on. And it just dawned on me. And I was just like, it's just me and you now, buddy. This is it, I suppose. This is like what having a child is like. Like, I will do literally anything. And it doesn't matter. Like, you are my priority. Unconditionally, I will just love you as long as I've got you. And I knew in my head that he was going to die soon because of that.
That moment.
Something just clicked, and I was like, that's what he was supposed to teach me. That's exactly what he was here to teach me. And as soon as I did, I was like, I haven't got much time with this one. And he was 2 days later, he died.
Wow. I mean, if you weren't spiritual before...
It's stuff like that. When I knew in that moment, I'm not lying. I promise this is the absolute truth. I knew in that moment, I was like, oh no, that's what I'm supposed to be learning from this one. Finally, it's been 8 years. To love unconditionally. Love myself, love my family, love other people. This is possible within me, and I didn't know that. I thought I was just done for like all that type of stuff.
So that's a real miracle, isn't it? I mean, he's gifted, what a gift to leave you with.
Well, I have problems with miracle again.
Let's allow it, just maybe give permission, because often I talk about miracles and everyday miracles, and people think they need to be sort of, I don't know, the seas need to part. So an everyday miracle is the slipstream of unconditional love. I mean, if that isn't a miracle in your lifetime,
I know,
in your 40s, to prepare you for the rest of your life.
I find it difficult, and I don't know why. I'm logical and I'm a cynic, and you are right. There's going to be so many of these situations where I'm finally going to go, okay, right? I wouldn't be, I'm starting a new relationship now. I've been single for 3 years because of a breakup that I had that completely shattered my heart. And I gave up on it. I was like, I'm okay to just die alone here. I can get loads of pugs. And I wouldn't be in my boots now if it wasn't for that profound moment of unconditional love. So he taught me how to love me, which I've never done. And I found that really hard my entire life, And so what a lesson he gave me, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, he broke your
heart. A miracle, some would say.
A miracle, some would say. He broke your heart and opened your heart. He cracked it open.
Yeah.
You know, I'm so happy for whoever's lucky enough to meet you post Alan. Open to possibility now.
Well, that's the thing. It's just open, right?
Open.
Just being all right with the idea of living a happy life.
Yeah.
And all of that, it's taken years. I'm 43. And who knew that the love of my life was going to be a pug called Alan Shearer? Who knew? I didn't.
Who knew?
I had no idea.
He was a gift to us all because, you know, there's going to be so many people listening to this who, you know, it's coming up to Christmas and I want this to go out before Christmas. And, you know,
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone. And if you're feeling you have lost your pet this year or even, you know, 5 years ago or whenever, you're still with that, a feeling of loneliness or emptiness or whatever it is, it just, you know, I hope you've felt something from this conversation. And on that note, love, purpose, connection, those 3 words, Matt, what do they feel like, mean to you, bring up for you?
I think love is one of the most powerful motivators for everything. And I think it's one of the most important things in the entire world. And there's many different factors to it. It's not just romantic love. It's love for your pets. It's love for friendship. It's love in connection. I think purpose is, I've taken a long time to try and find what my purpose is in life and trying to build connection between others via my authenticity is kind of important to me.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Matt,
very much,
for that beautiful conversation. So appreciate you being here.
Can I just say something to anybody out there with a dog or a pet? Right?
Yes.
Okay, squeeze them really hard, love them, and give them everything they need whilst you can, because it's very important, and appreciate it whilst they're there.
Thank you so much for listening to Love, Purpose, Connection with me, Estelle Bingham. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. I'd really appreciate that. And if you really liked it, then leave me a review so I can keep doing what I love, healing one heart at a time. You can also follow me, Estelle.Bingham, on Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest releases. If you feel in need of some extra guidance, then my book, Manifest Your True Essence, could be helpful. You can find it online or in any major bookshop. In the meantime, thanks again for listening, thanks again for watching, and I will join you on the next episode of the Love, Purpose, Connection podcast.